Can we just take a moment though and look at how bad inflation has gotten in just a matter of 50 years? Of course though, it was some oil guy that had the money to actually do all this. But when you have a ton of money, why not? Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's your favorite boy from the Midwest, Ethan, and today we're going to be looking at why the hell is London Bridge not in London anymore? Some of my earlier videos, you guys pointed out that for one, Tower Bridge is not London Bridge, and two, that London Bridge is not even in London anymore, but it's over here in the US, somewhere in Arizona. That's what we're doing today. We're going to learn how and why is London Bridge here in the United States. But before we get into the video, guys, you all know what to do. Make sure to hit that like button, turn that notification bell on so you don't miss out on any of the videos I'm putting up. Also, feel free to follow me on Instagram. Go check out the channel's Discord. And I do have a P.O. box for anyone who's interested in that. All that information is down in the description. Go check it out. And if you're new to the channel, please watch the whole video. See what you think. If you like the video and this type of content, make sure to hit that big, beautiful red subscribe button and turn it gray. And with that being said, guys, let's get right into this video. So yes, this is another video by Simon Wessler. He, like I said in my previous video, he does so much content on YouTube. He's a great teacher, great presenter. That's why he has so many different channels. This is from his channel, Side Projects. One of many that he has. And honestly, I would not be surprised if he actually owns just part of YouTube because of all the content that he puts out.
When it was originally built across the River Thames in the 1830s, few would have guessed that more than a century later, London Bridge would reside 5,000 miles away in sunny Arizona. The impressive granite and brick structure consisted of more than 10,000 pieces of all shapes and sizes, but by the early 1960s, it was well on its way to obsolescence. It survived 2 world wars and more than 130 years of daily use, but the stalwart bridge just wasn't up to the challenges of the 20th century. In fact, it was sinking into the Thames at an alarming rate and the city needed a replacement. Though its future was bleak, the old bridge's date with the rubble heap wasn't a foregone conclusion, because a shrewd London city councilman had a bit of a better idea. They'd sell it to the Yanks.
Sell it to the Yanks, yeah. I'm sure they thought like, oh yeah, just sell it to these idiot Americans over here. They'll buy anything. Which is somewhat true, but it is really interesting though that it went through both world wars, because it's probably one of the few structures on the United States soil that has actually seen action from World War I and II.
So in 1968, he set out across the Atlantic in search of prospective buyers, and as luck would have it, American entrepreneur and oil company executive Robert P. McCulloch was in the market for just such an item. A few years earlier, the brazen speculator had secured more than 3,000 acres of land on the east side of Lake Havasu in west central Arizona, and he'd negotiated one heck of a deal. The land was free, with one stipulation. The state wanted it to be developed. Not an easy undertaking, considering its location in one of the harshest and most remote corners of the American Southwest. McCulloch envisioned a vibrant retirement community teeming with wealthy geriatric snowbirds from all over the country, and he wasn't about to let his dream die without a fight.
Okay, yeah, I get, like, America's huge, we have a lot of land, but 3,000 acres for free is still, even in the 1970s, like unheard of. Now, obviously, it was probably like desolate land that the government really didn't want, and having this man spend his own money to develop it and bring in businesses is probably more beneficial to the government than just holding on to it. But still, getting 3,000 acres for free is crazy. Of course, though, it was some oil guy that had the money to actually do all this.
He wasn't about to let his dream die without a fight. The problem was attracting potential buyers. Lake Havasu is hundreds of miles from the region's major airports and metropolitan centers,
yeah, so
and the roads were notoriously poor in those days. What he needed was something to draw them in, something like a 1,000-foot stone bridge from halfway around the world. When his real estate agent suggested that he buy it, McCulloch apparently said it was the craziest idea he'd ever heard, but he eventually came round because shortly thereafter the pair were in London negotiating with hard-nosed city officials who were determined to get top dollar for their historic bridge. According to them, disassembly alone would cost the taxpayers a bundle. After considering the matter carefully, McCulloch offered nearly $2.5 million, almost $20 million in today's money.
Can we just take a moment though and look at how bad inflation has gotten in just a matter of 50 years? That is insane. City officials are kind of like the worst people to negotiate and work with. They're such hard asses. It's hard to do anything with them.
double the figure quoted for dismantling the bridge. The deal was finalized in April 1968, and the American became the proud new owner of an obsolete stone structure for which he paid a fortune by the standards of the day. And also today's standards, $20 million is not a joke.
I mean, it's still a really cool history, though.
Rumours persisted that the Brits had duped the brash Americans into believing that they'd actually purchased London's more well-known Tower Bridge. They laughed off the baseless claim, though, and it wasn't long before the colossal deconstruction got underway. Each of the bridges...
Yeah, Tower Bridge is definitely much more famous. Like, now looking at the two differences, I know exactly which one is what. It would have been really cool if you had gone Tower Bridge, but the price of that would be astronomical, as well as they probably would never sell it because it's so unique.
Granite segments was assigned a number before disassembly, after which many were taken to a local quarry and shortened by as much as 8 inches to make them easier to handle and ship. In another stroke of luck, an expensive transport was secured on a newly built vessel, one that was originally slated to make the trip from England to its new owners in America totally empty. Seizing the opportunity, McCulloch's team offered to pay the ship's operating costs in lieu of freight charges.
It's a great deal.
The owners, they agreed, and the bridge got moved for pennies on the dollar. The heavily laden ship traveled across the Atlantic, through the Panama Canal, and up the west coast of Mexico and California before docking at the port of Long Beach. From there, a multitude of trucks hauled the individual pieces to the obscure Arizona town on the Colorado River. In September of 1968, the bridge's first foundation stone was ceremonially laid, but despite its new lease on life, it still wasn't up to bearing modern load. Structural engineers directed workers to build a number of gargantuan hollow concrete forms that would replace some of the heavier components. These add-ons significantly increased the bridge's strength and reduced its weight by more than a quarter. The time-consuming process was carried out on a narrow peninsula along the shore of Lake Havasu, which would later become an island when a canal was dredged below the bridge. When the reconstruction was nearly complete, the bridge's facade was covered with much of the original granite masonry from the 1830s. All told, transportation, site preparation, and assembly took more than 3 years and cost nearly $7 million, which is $52 million when you adjust for inflation.
I was wondering how much it cost to reconstruct the thing. So it cost almost 3 times the price just to reassemble it. And 3 years, that's crazy. But when you have a ton of money, why not?
Then, on a sunny October day in 1971, the reassembled English bridge was officially unveiled in a garish ceremony featuring synchronized skydivers, an epic fireworks display, hot air balloons, a marching band, and A-list celebrities like Robert Mitchum. The high-profile bridge purchase was often referred to as McCulloch's folly, but well, the giant gamble, it totally paid off. Prospective buyers, retirees, and those who'd had it with the harsh winters in the Midwest and Northeast flocked to Lake Havasu City in the 60s and 70s, and many purchased land and homes.
I gotta admit, though, it does look really, really nice. You British people really know how to build amazing architecture. Because this isn't credit to the Americans. All they did was move it over here and reassemble it, but it does look really cool where it is.
What started out as an iffy and expensive marketing scheme had helped transform a once desolate stretch of rock and scrub into a bustling city of 10,000 people just a decade later. Now, Lake Havasu City has a population 5 times larger than it did back then, and it attracts more than 1 million visitors every year.
Awesome.
Many don't spend more than a few passing moments appreciating the stately bridge, but without it, the desert town might be little more than it was 50 years ago. Though London Bridge was indeed falling down in the early 1960s, it's still standing after nearly 2 centuries, and it's one of the state's most iconic landmarks.
It is interesting to see that some of our most iconic landmarks have come from other countries, like this, the bridge, and as well as the Statue of Liberty. I do think it's kind of funny, though, that they called it his folly. It kind of reminds me of Seward's folly when he purchased Alaska from the Russians. The Russians, again, were selling it to the Yanks, stupid Yanks, worthless land, just a bunch of ice. And later on, they found a ton of gold and oil in Alaska. And a quick Google search showed that Alaska produced a total of 49.27 million troy ounces of gold from 1880 to 2018. So, obviously, they got their money back, hand over fist. Same thing with this. It was a huge investment. It was a risk, but he obviously made it work out. I do really like that we actually have a piece of British history over here in America. So, I've never seen it. I've never been to that part of Arizona, but I have been to Arizona. And it's really kind of cool that if I wanted to, I could go check it out and appreciate British architecture, even though I'm in here in America, which is really kind of cool. Anyway, guys, that is the video. Thank you for recommending this to me. I definitely enjoyed learning more about the history and why it was moved, because I really had no idea. If you guys liked the video, let me know what you thought. Comment below for future videos that you would like to see me do. I just want to take a quick moment and also shout out you guys that this channel has 17,000 subscribers, which is amazing. It still has only been 6 months since I started the channel, and I just want to really shout you guys out and say thank you. I hope you have a great day, a great week, and we'll catch you guys in the next video.